Hi guys! Today I thought we'd do something completely different. If you follow me on social media, you would have seen back in September I shared a few videos and hinted that I would be making some laser cut acrylic jewellery. Well, fast forward to the second week of October and I'm finally ready to assemble it all. So let's jump in. So although it's my own design, I obviously don't own a laser cutter. So I sent it off to the amazing Tatimu, who cut it all and sent it back for me. It's all in these little bags here, so let's have a little look at what we've got. These bags are adorable. We've got some with some insects on, some with some Pokemon, and some with just some really beautiful shapes and insects, and there's even one here with a little bit of embroidery as well. Definitely check out her shop. I will drop her link down below. Some of these pieces are absolutely tiny. I don't know if you can see there, that is a bee. So we've got all of these little pieces that are going to need to be put together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. So let's hop to it. The idea is to pop all of it onto this backing. And as you can see, I have asked Tatimu to etch out the design, so it should in theory make it a little bit easier for me to place everything. So I'm going to carefully move this all over to one side. And now I need to take off this protective coating here to try and reveal the design, and I've got to be very careful because obviously I don't want to scratch the acrylic underneath. So I'm using my trusty tweezers, which are the same ones that I usually use for weeding, and luckily this bit is going to be underneath these parts here, but it is extremely delicate, so you don't want to use something that's going to scratch it. Like these have got quite a sharp point on them, so I'm going to try and do my best to just peel off where I can. If anybody has any tips as to what I could be using instead, definitely let me know. I'm not sure if I'm going to make lots of these or if this is just going to be a one-off for me for Halloween. The design itself is one that you may recognise from a makeup bag, and it was actually originally a hoodie design, which I like to wear. I have a design, I have the same design in a hoodie and also a t-shirt that I usually just wear in October. So let's get all of this done. Now that's all done, the next step is going to be taking these little bits here that are to go on top, peeling off just the backing and then placing them on like a giant puzzle. I'm going to keep the protective covers on the front until it's all glued down, and then that will be the final step to remove it all. So let's just hope that this is as easy to remove as the last one was. So just start peeling that off. And you can see that's all ready to go, and then just line it up on there. And having the etching marks means that it will be nice and easy for me to glue it all down when it gets to that step. I've managed to assemble all of it. At this stage, obviously nothing is stuck down. You might have been able to see in the time lapse that I was peeling off these kind of coloured bits, and on some of the other bits you can actually see scorch marks on the protective backing. That's because the design is cut back to front, similar to how I do my heat transfer vinyl, so that the front of the acrylic won't have any scorch marks or cut marks on them. They'll be perfect. Obviously it's got the protective covering just here on all of this at the moment, other than the black. So the next step, now that I've made sure that everything is here, is to very carefully go about gluing it all together with some specialist adhesive. If you haven't guessed, I am feeling a bit sleepy today, which is why I am stumbling over my words a fair bit. Chibichi Jr. is poorly. I've had no sleep. She kept having coughing fits at least 3 or 4 times an hour, and she was in with me because she just wants mummy. So I am struggling today, but I was determined to get this done and obviously up and posted because Halloween's approaching and I want to have my necklace ready to wear. So moving on, the next stage is adhesive. I did quite a lot of research and in the end I decided to go with the Iridite Rapid. It has a working time of 5 minutes. It will be provisionally set within 20 and then fully hardened within 2 hours. The reason that I went for this is because it is a base and catalyst method, which is something that I am used to. It's something that I do a lot within dentistry, and also something that I am familiar with from back when I used to do jewellery making. So also the packaging itself is pretty nifty because it's got a special way of making sure that you can separate the plastic from the cardboard to make it fully recyclable, which anybody else, if you're familiar with this kind of packaging, you get kind of lots of little cardboard bits on the plastic and then it can't be fully recycled, so this is a big bonus in my books. I've opened up the window, so apologies for any noise that you might hear from outside, but obviously when you're working with chemicals such as this you need to have good ventilation. And I've also got some gloves. I've gone for the thinner kind of latex-free nitrile gloves just because it will help with dexterity, and as you've already seen, some of these bits are very, very small and I need to be able to have, as I said, good dexterity to get them all aligned properly. So what you usually do with a base and catalyst is you need to mix equal parts of each onto a mixing pad, and there is a spatula in here as well, which is great. So you just fold this bit at the top back, it's perforated, and then just slide that bit up. It's fine, it's not hit the necklace too much. And yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna fix that bit there. There we go. I'm not sure how is going to be the best way for me to attempt to do this, because as you saw on the time lapse of me assembling it, it is very, very fiddly. So I'm not sure whether or not to go like section by section or work from the inside out. It's going to be a bit of a learning curve and we will just see what happens. So I am going to get my makeshift mixing pad, which is here. Put on my gloves ready. I've stolen these from Mr. Chibichi's Warhammer. Bits and pieces. Don't tell him. Hopefully he won't notice. He's got a fair few of them. They are a bit big, but they are better than kind of rubber gloves. So I'm going to make some space here. And then it's a case of unscrewing the lid on the part A, popping it in to make a good perforation. The one thing that I would say is to start with a small amount, because when you're doing something big like this, you need to make it in sections. You've only got 5 minutes of working time, so you don't want to mix up too much and then find that it ends up going off. So it's kind of a petit pois sized amount there of part A. Let's put the lid back on. Just be careful when you're putting the lid on not to squeeze it out because it does go everywhere. And then exactly the same with part B. Just make sure that when you're squeezing them out, don't put them on top of each other. Put them far enough away that they're not going to run into each other until you're ready to start mixing, but obviously not so far away that you're going to lose a lot of it once you start mixing. So there we go, that's there. And you get a handy little spatula just there. And now it's just a case of mixing together for a good 30 seconds. So you want to be kind of giving a mixing method, but also a scraping method as well. So there we go. And I think that I am going to start with the pumpkin, simply because it's one of the easier bits to do. So I'm going to remove it all off first of all, and then start with the smaller bits which are at the top, and then very carefully apply a nice thin layer. It's difficult to judge how much, because obviously you don't want it squidging out everywhere, but you need enough on there that it is going to obviously fully cure. So the problem with these gloves is where they're slightly too big, it is really affecting my dexterity. So I'm just going to pop the tweezers on and very carefully lower it on. And obviously you need to be aware that wherever the glue touches, it's going to have to be polished off. So the least amount that you can do kind of damage in this part, the better. So again, I'm going to load this up ready. I think tweezers are definitely the way forward for this. We've got the shakes, mainly due to lack of sleep and having to caffeinate to get through the morning. But we give it a go. Goodness me. See, I feel like when I'm in the dental practice and I've been asked to mix up the cement for crowns, and you know that you've got something really expensive that's going into the patient's onto the patient's tooth, and you've got a limited setting time, and what you don't want to happen is take too long and then the poor dentist can't get it in because it's set, because then it all has to be manually removed, and you understandably have a very grumpy dentist there. And just like with the expensive crowns and bridges, you don't want to drop it on the floor either. So you would think that I would be pretty experienced and good at this, but the shakes today are really not helping. In hindsight, I should have done this perhaps when I had a full night's sleep, but at the moment she's really ill and I don't know how long it will be until we get one of those. So this one's a slightly bigger piece, so it should be easier. Okay, so you can just scrape up layer as you need to. And yeah, the bigger bits are so much easier. You just need to try and make it obviously fairly clean. You don't want to be making a great big mess of your workspace. Oh, these gloves are driving me mad, but as tempting as it is to take them off, I obviously won't. Yeah, I think I'm fine until it comes to popping it down, and that's when the shakes kick in. So deep breaths, making sure it's all on there. I have been assured that this dries clear, but obviously you don't want lots of excess built up around there. Right, there we go. Oh, so shaky. Okay, almost done. I'm just going to put the middle bit of pumpkin in. Yeah, so far the mixing consistency, I've not used this one before, but it seems to be pretty good, which is a relief, especially as it's what I've chosen to do the whole piece with. So if you have brought acrylic jewellery before, you will know that intricate pieces like this are quite expensive. And the reason that is because it's pretty costly to get this cut. The acrylic sheets themselves can be a fair amount, and the assembly, as you can see, takes ages. So it is for that reason that they're so expensive. I love the look of acrylic jewellery. It's just so bright and vibrant, and in my opinion, nothing else really comes close to this look that you get. So there we go, one pumpkin done. Now I've just got to try and go section to section and get it all set. We've now stuck it all down, and I'm not quite sure how well you're going to be able to see here, but just around some of the edges I've managed to accidentally get the adhesive on, which isn't great. So I'm now thinking that what I should have done was remove the protective sheeting just from where I was going to put the letters and the design rather than everywhere. So it's a bit of a shame. There's a little bit of cloudiness again. I'm not sure if you can see just there. I don't think it's going to focus. There's a good few hours yet until it's completely cured, so we will see whether or not that stays or whether or not it goes once it's fully cured, and then look at peeling off these final bits here once it is fully set. Okay, so it's been a few hours now and everything should be nice and secure. So the only thing that's left for me to do is to peel off the protective layer on top. But I've got to be super careful with this one, because what I don't want to happen is to use tweezers or anything sharp and then kind of have it scratch the acrylic, because obviously that would need to be buffed out and it would just be more work. So I'm going to carefully go through and get it all removed. Protective layer is all off, and I think it's turned out absolutely amazing. It's definitely not perfect. You can see, like in here, where there's a little bit of excess of the iridite, and here as well, where I've obviously just managed to touch with my gloves and it's gone on there. If I was to do the design again, I'd also make this little ridge here a bit thicker, because you can see it's just buckled ever so slightly just when it's being cut, and again that's completely my fault. That's where the design itself was just a bit too fine. So I am now going to go and do some research and see how I can hopefully get rid of these bits here, and then obviously lastly remove the layer on the back and look at adding a chain to it. But yeah, it matches the design for the makeup bags and my hoodie pretty well, and I really like how it's come out. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a good few weeks since I last filmed. I got quite ill, Stupid got quite ill, and I'm finally at the other side. With a couple of days to go before Halloween, I thought it was time that I really should finish off this necklace so I can actually get some wear out of it before the spooky season is over. I have been on eBay and I have ordered some split rings and also a chain. So hilariously, I used to have so many jewellery findings. My business before this was actually semi-precious stone jewellery, and I gave everything away or scrapped that. I sold it all for a ridiculous fee, like £20, and there was hundreds of pounds worth of things in there. I just needed the space, and now I'm really kicking myself because it's meant that I've had to kind of start from scratch. And if you can see this chain here, it is super fine. I ordered it on Sunday in a bit of a rush, hoping that it would be here in time, and it has meant that it's less than perfect. So I have got some of my old jewellery bits that I do still wear, but I'm hoping that I can use these split rings from it. Obviously, if I do start making more jewellery for myself, then I will have to kind of restock what I used to have. But for now, this will do. We are running out of time and I really, really want to be able to wear this for Halloween. So join me whilst I assemble everything together. I'm not gonna lie, that was painful. I used to be so good at jewellery making, but it has actually been years since I've done it. And these jewellery making pliers, oh my goodness, they were just terrible. These are fantastic, these ones are terrible. You need 2 sets of these to obviously be able to open and close the split rings. So yeah, if I do decide to go back into it, I definitely need to get another set of these. That said, we are done. You might have seen I tried to be lazy and just literally switch out the middle bit for one of my old designs. It didn't work, it was too short. But I am pretty impressed with how this has turned out. Let's just check the length and hopefully this will be a good fit. The application is not the cleanest, but because it's for personal use, absolutely fine. It's definitely trial and error. And as you can see, I am pretty terrible at managing to put on necklaces by myself. I'm all fingers and thumbs, a bit like with pliers. Ta-da! I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. And I like the size. I know that it's perhaps not for everybody because it's quite large, but it's a statement necklace. It's supposed to make a statement, and this one definitely does. I'm going to drop the links down below so you can have a look at perhaps making your own laser jewellery if it's something that you are interested in. I can highly recommend Tati Moo. She was absolutely fantastic at guiding me through the whole process. And watch this space because I think I may have to design some more, perhaps not Halloween themed, perhaps more general everyday wear. That said, I'm sure I'm going to be wearing this throughout the year, so let's see. Let me know in the comments, what did you think of it? Is this something that you would wear? Do you have any tips or tricks for me for creating my own layered acrylic jewellery? Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already seen, we are close to 100 subscribers. Long-time viewers will know that that is my goal for 2021. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do help me reach that goal. Thank you again so much, and I will check in with you all later. Bye!